Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's always fun to watch a guest behind the stage, watch the credits, the opening credits, and see them looking, going, "What am I doing? What have I gotten myself into?"
I thoroughly enjoyed those credits.
Well, good. Thank you for joining us, Jen. It's glad that we're glad that you're here. We have all talked. We were talking about before the show. We've all been Lego adjacent at conventions and things like that, passing ships and all that kind of stuff. Not like you can really spend a ton of time with everybody when it comes to conventions, but it's really cool to be at them, to make some connections. And Matt talked to us that he had hung out with you at Brick Slopes and talked about building, talked about mosaics and lighting, and wanted to invite you on the show. We were pulling for you on your season of Lego Masters, and we covered the show a lot. I'm going to do something now, and I hope this doesn't bring you any PTSD. Oh gosh, where is it? There it is. All right, here it is, right here. I don't know if this hurts or not, but there it is.
Would it be PTLD?
I'm going to need a minute. I'm just going to need a minute here.
You didn't warn her to grab tissues. Come on. It's harsh. It's harsh.
It is. And I enjoyed, you were on last night on Instagram Live with Corey from season 1 and Christine Tacos from season 3. Is that right? And y'all were talking about y'all were talking about Lego Masters Junior, correct? Isn't that what y'all were talking about?
Yeah, Lego Masters Junior was just recently announced, and we did not think that was going to be a thing that was happening. And so we're really excited about this. This is going to be a lot of fun. So we got together last night, not knowing anything about what's going on behind the scenes, but just kind of like from our time on the show, kind of speculating what we think this could be or what we want it to be or what are some crazy ideas that they might come up with, and then giving some advice to any kids that might want to audition and try it out and see what they thought. So, but I'm excited about it. I think this is great.
Yep, and I think there's a friend right there. Moto said "Ugh Clockzilla" when we showed the gift there.
Oh, that clock, right? We called it Clockzilla. We called it, right? What was it? Clockosaurus Rex. We had all kinds of. Yeah, we do not like the clock.
Yeah, we do have a PG-13 we can flash up if you need to call it anything else. So that'll be just fine.
No, we kept it family friendly on the show for the most part. Well, at least we tried.
Yeah, I understand. All right. So we're glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, I mean, we were talking about that. It seems the unfortunate thing about the writer's strike is we have a lot of productions not being put in production. But it seems like maybe Fox is like, hey, we let's throw some more Lego Masters. So we have season 5. That rumor has it is actually about to film like soon, to be released even sooner. And then there's a holiday special. They released who was on the holiday special. Is that right?
Right?
Yeah,
that was like that was early, I think. I don't know. I don't remember if they released it this early last year. But we were like, woo! Season 2 represent.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So there was a lot of Jeff. Did you have that list? Did you see? I forgot the announcement.
I could pull it up. I know David Gaudis was on it from season 3.
Yep, Lettuce from season 3. That was the older brother of the brother and sister. He's working at Lego now, so they grabbed him before he went to Denmark. Season 1 is Crystal Star. Their team was the Unicorns, Crystal and Amy. So Crystal's going to be on it. And then from season 2, we have Randall. He was on the Randall and Sarita team. Randall's freaking awesome builder. Absolutely love him. And then Caleb. He was one of the twins, Caleb and Jacob. And so Caleb's. I mean, they've got 4 people from spanning 3 seasons, and is just the holiday spectacular was lots of fun last year. And so I can't wait to see what they do with it this year.
Yeah, we kind of got the benefit of that spectacular because you don't know. My house is literally, and I won't say how I know these things, but I do, is 15 minutes from where they stage and sleep. They let everybody sleep for 3 hours a night, and then the filming site is like 30 minutes away from here. So when the holiday folks came last year, they were free to just say, hey, we're going to hang out. So we got to hang out with them a little bit, and that was really, really, really fun. So
you actually like live behind the scenes, so you actually kind of get to see stuff just randomly, just for fun. That's awesome.
I could be
That's
that
amazing.
guy. I could drive up in that parking lot between the two buildings where they film and just, I know where it is.
Hold up a sign.
I texted him.
Have security chase you off.
I knew what day season 4 was supposed to start. The guests were supposed to start arriving. And I texted Chris and I'm like, you want to just go sit in the car with some binoculars and see who gets out of the cars, the rent or the bus. We could do
I have a friend that works at a hospital that's just right up the road, and I know all the things. So,
and not only
that's
this, but
hilarious.
it also has to be like, and that's not necessarily a requirement, but typically when someone finally gets sent home, they make a stop at Chris's house before they actually leave the state. It's not a requirement.
I love it.
But we know that this has happened from time to time.
That is epic.
I was also for a few that I knew one time, I was the consolation prize, and let me take you to Atlanta Brick Company taxi. So,
right.
That happened.
I know a lot of us wanted to stop at Atlanta Brick Co. and definitely say hi to Mark and Steven as we go by because they work there.
Yeah, and they have an image. I talked to them earlier today, and if they could make it with their schedule and all the stuff they got going on, they have an invite, so they may be popping in. So Mark and Steven might pop in.
Oh, that would be awesome! I would love to see those guys again.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping they pop in because of all the stuff I have sitting behind me, which will just make Mark twitch. So let's hope they do pop in.
They hate.
Well, I've got something to show him. I've actually got something to show him. So if he shows up, I've got a little Rock Raider fun to show him.
Ooh.
Well, he'll like that. He'll like that.
Yeah, it's fun to encourage them, but it's also awesome to make them cringe with Nexo Nights. They can't stand it. So,
and that's the best thing about us at conventions. Like, we have the most fun, like ribbing each other, telling each other jokes, figuring out each other's jokes in the builds. Like, honestly, and those boys, they can take it. They can dish it. So be ready, but they can take it.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely dish back. It is definitely a love-hate on both sides of the coin. That we give them a hard time, they give us a hard time back. It's good stuff.
That's right. And Bricking Up Brad, I know that actually is a anti-compliment. That is a slap in our face because I'm a space fan. I'm a big space builder and everything. So he's a big castle guy. So yeah. So yeah. All right.
Let's just say that Brad messaged me because he thought it was exciting because I said I pre-ordered the new Viking set that'll be coming out from Target, and he's like, "Finally, you've seen the light." And I said, "Space Vikings." And he goes, "Don't you dare!" He's
like, "Wait, stop!" Oh no! I mean, that's awesome that you like space.
Space Vikings. I mean, it's basically Thor. I mean, come on.
That's right.
It's true. It's true.
Speaking of your season, and speaking of the season with Mark and Steven and everything, Moto's been on the show. Moto's a good friend, and Moto just happened to tell us one day that they were riding back and forth back and forth from the thing, and they were riding buddies with Mark and Steven. And he just said something about Nexo Nights, and they did a 30-minute tirade, the 30-minute drive from studio to the hotel, a 30-minute tirade about how terrible Nexo Nights was. And he was just sitting there taking it like, I don't know what to do. It's awesome. So awesome.
I could just hear it now.
It's good stuff.
Awesome.
But
all right.
Talking about like conventions and being Lego adjacent, one of the first conversations I remember all of us having together back in the dressing room was, "Hey, have you been to conventions? What conventions have you been to? And what did you build? And what did you build?" And you're like, "Oh, I know who you are." And we were like able to identify each other by our Lego builds, right? And so that was like kind of a hilarious circumstance. It's the AFOL world. That's how it works. But I just thought that was hilarious that we didn't know who each other were by face.
Yeah, it makes complete sense.
We knew each other by our builds.
Yeah, because I mean, there were people in Chicago that you bump into, and they're like, "Hey, I don't think we've met." Da, 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 da. And then all you do is say is what you built, and they're like, "Oh, that guy!" And that's so common. So
yeah. It should be that everyone who doesn't have their first name as their Insta or their Flickr or whatever account name, they have to put their screen name on there. You know, because I'm like, I don't know. Oh,
Right.
you're, Hassan Fair for 42. I like your builds, that kind of thing. So,
Exactly.
There's been a few times like Brick World, actually even Bricks Cascade. Bricks Cascade, because I went there last year, where I walked in and I walked past someone's mock and I'm like, oh my God, they're here. Like, I know who they were, but I didn't know they were registered until I actually walked by and saw their mocks sitting there. And I was like, it's just funny how you recognize people by what they build.
Well, in the advantage, when I went to Brick Slopes, I only brought one very large thing, but I'd walk around the hall and I would say, yeah, I brought the giant steak over there. And they'd be like, oh, that's you. And I'd be like, that's me. Yeah, that's what I brought. But I didn't have to sit and list a bunch of stuff.
So does anybody else do this? When I put a new contact in my phone, I'll always put like a little key reminder of where I met them or who they were. And so a lot of my AFOL friends are like their favorite theme or something like that, right? Like Brian Disney or like so-and-so space or right. And so like, does anybody else do that? Or is it just me where you like list their building style or their builds after their name so you can remember who they are? Or is that just me?
But I love the idea.
I need to start doing this.
Yeah, I need to start doing that.
I usually just put
most of my AFOL contacts are all Instagram contacts, so I'm not having.
They already have the handles.
Yeah, so it's all a handle thing.
I'm betting No, you're cat guy. What are you talking about?
But Jen, the worst thing I think is when going to a show and you get home and then you see pictures of something and someone who you wanted to meet and didn't know they were there because there was so much going on and you missed them somewhere along the way. That I think happens
100%. Yeah. That's like the biggest regret of any convention is I don't feel like I ever have enough time. I'll see pictures from a convention and I'm like, I walked the whole floor and how did I miss that build? Right. Or like, that's why I love World of Lights, because you see builds that you walked by all day long and you see them in a new light. And I just absolutely love that sort of thing. But there is not enough time at these conventions. I could spend a whole week walking up and down, looking at all that Lego, talking to everybody I want to talk to.
Absolutely.
It's just not enough time.
Not enough time.
I don't know if you're aware of an AFOL named Abner Finley. Do you know Abner by any chance?
Oh yeah.
Okay. This is the good thing about Abner. If I don't get to go to a convention, because Abner's just about at every one, I get to live vicariously through Abner's pictures. And then when I'm at a convention with Abner, I can live vicariously through Abner's pictures because he catches everything that I miss. I'm like, what the heck is that? When he posts it every day. So we appreciate it.
We love Abner. Abner's fantastic.
We introduced Abner to banana pudding one year in Alabama and changed his life.
How has he never had banana pudding before?
He's from the land of frozen custard up near Minneapolis, so they have frozen custard. But Southerners have banana pudding, so regional cuisines, I guess.
The weird thing is when Abner doesn't make it to a con because there's so many going on now that he can't attend, right?
Yeah.
Like Atlanta BrickCon last year or this year when that happened.
But yeah, I'm like, hey, you're coming to Atlanta BrickCon, right? He goes, I don't know. I'm like, are you sick? I mean, what did we do?
Are you okay? Are you all right, Abner?
It's in an airport hub. I mean, you should probably be passing through there anyhow.
Well, he does. That's just it. He passes through here all the time because he'll go traveling through Atlanta, and I'm like, wave, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Abner's flown over my house 100 times more than people in my lug have been to my house. So, it's.
This is true.
All right, let's do a quick spin through the room, and Jen, you'll be our last one, and then we'll get to our conversation with you about your amazing mocks and buildings and things like that. Jeff Van Winden, what is going on in your Lego world right now?
It's missing the walls, but I have re-geared it. And
the bouncy castle!
Hey!
So that is, I just finished that today. The rest of the pieces of the castle are kind of over my shoulder. I can't touch the yellow things behind me. But I re-geared it. I think I got it working. I've run it for about 45 minutes and didn't fall apart. So that's a bonus. So I'm getting ready for Bricomanie, which is a French or a Quebec show, Laval, Quebec next weekend. And I actually just finished packing up everything today, with the exception of the bouncy castle, because I just finished that today. So I'm now sitting here for the next 6 days, twiddling my thumbs, trying to figure out what to do, and trying to figure out if I should build something else. So I don't know. But beyond that, it's lots of all these bins have been for the past few weeks of building and stuff as well, trying to get projects done. But yeah, other than that, I would say it's been pretty quiet, but it's been chaotic. But there's it's kind of like the calm after the storm now for the next few days. So
Right. So when do you pull out to go to Bricks and Mini?
I'm leaving Wednesday afternoon, so I won't be here for the Thursday show, and I should be back by the next Monday show, like 2 weeks from now.
Okay. Good deal.
But yeah, unless I can't go live from Laval, we'll see.
You totally should. You totally should.
Well,
all right, hold up. Somebody in the comments noted that 2 of us are wearing the same shirt. Matt, stand up. What do you got?
Yep, Brick Slopes.
Oh
Nice.
yeah. And this is the inaugural wearing of mine, because I didn't wear it at the convention day for the group photo. I think I don't know. I was wearing some other shirt. And the very first day of Brick Slopes, they have a get together up front for first timers to the convention. I've been to some conventions, but I'd never been to Brick Slopes. So I went up, and I was totally ignorant that at Brick Slopes, everything leads to a prize or seemingly leads to a prize. And so if you ask a question, they like threw you a poly bag or something. And so I was like, well, I have a question. Like, what is up with this? Like, here we are in the mountains, and it's a the palm tree. I was like, there's a lot of palm trees in Salt Lake, at least that I'm aware of. And so I got a little poly bag out of it, and they were like, it's just the theme. And it was like, I think Dream Destination or something. I think that was what the theme of the 2023 Brick Fest.
Bucket list.
Bucket list.
There we go.
So you see, bucket.
Oh, got it.
Bucket list.
So I knew you were going to be on, and you're a local, and I was like, it's time to break out and wear the Bricks 2023 shirt for the first time.
Well, I appreciate. Way to represent. Thank you. We love it.
Yeah. And one of the things I've talked about in a couple of shows that we've done since the Salt Lake show is one, it's kind of was refreshing to go to a not massive show after going to Chicago and not having any kind of lengthy conversations. It was great. I had some extended conversations just walking around the floor and seeing folks, but also just that there's a whole Western US community that doesn't necessarily come to Brick World Chicago or Brick Fair Virginia or Toronto or the places that a lot of us Eastern folks live. And walking around the hall, I saw a whole bunch of builds that I'd never seen face to face. And sorry, I'm robotic, but so it was great to meet new AFOLs that are on the western half of the country. It's a big country we live in. And next year, I'm aiming to get all the way out to Seattle in September and some of those West Coast builders, because obviously Paul Hetherington, super talented guy out on the West Pacific Northwest. I'm excited to see other things that I've only seen photos from that attended BrickCon. So
Paul's been in Chicago for past couple of years too. Right?
Yes, yeah, but I mean that's his home show. So
okay, fair enough.
He's local talent is what I'm getting at.
Gotcha.
Obviously, there are talented builders in all parts of the USA, and not everybody gets to travel like Paul or like Jen. So it'll be awesome to see what those West Coast people bring to Seattle next year. I'm very excited about that.
Well, like you're saying, like some people can pack up their builds on an airplane or drive, several states over, but some of us can't. And so we'll just bring what we've got to our local conventions or maybe a state over or something like that. Like, for instance, Dana's got these huge mosaics like that. You just can't put that in a suitcase. Here TSA, right? It's this giant mosaic. It's fine. It's just plastic. It's not an explosive, really, right? So, but it's hard to carry stuff that far. But no, I could definitely get what you say. And having been to a couple of conventions across the country now since Lego Masters, there's definitely regional flavor, and I just absolutely love it. It's something I don't think the public picks up on at all. It's only those of us who are going to several conventions and getting to talk to the AFOLs behind the scenes.
And the other thing is with the sort of national Instagram culture where I follow builders in the US and other countries, I have sometimes know their builds, and we were talking about, just saying, oh, I'm the person who brought this, but you'll walk around and I'll see something that I'd seen on Instagram or somebody had sent me a text of and said, oh, this is really cool. And I'll be like, oh, you're that person, like, oh, I hear such, and I've been an admirer of what you're doing. For example, the Eastern U.S., from Virginia is some of the mosaic makers. So we had on, one of the women who goes to Virginia Brick, and she came on and chatted. And if you're on the West Coast, you might have seen her work on Instagram, but as far as I know, she's not from Seattle. So you get a chance to talk to those people whose construction has caught your eye in the past.
Yeah. You guys have been to a couple conventions. Let me ask you a question. Do you ever totally find yourself fangirling, kind of going, oh my gosh, it's that builder, it's that AFOL, I know that build. I find myself doing that all the time, and maybe it's another thing that's just me, but I absolutely love meeting everybody and their builds and getting the story behind their builds and seeing all the little fun things that they put in there. I think we want to take ourselves seriously and say, yeah, I'm an adult doing a very, some serious building, but it doesn't stick. We are not. We're just a bunch of big kids building huge because we can, because we're adults, but we're just a bunch of big kids having fun with this plastic toy.
So we were actually talking about
we have big collections of Lego, not because we are rich, it's because we're financially irresponsible. So that's
True.
We were talking about this. I think we were talking about this post show last week. I don't even think it was great content. We didn't even talk about it on the show, about how you go to the show and you'll bump into somebody, or I had somebody come up and say, hey, can I introduce you to so and so? And I'm like, sure, yeah. I mean, they could just come talk to me. It's no big deal. And they're like, no, I want to. And later I kind of realized, oh, he was a little shy to try to want to talk to me. And I'm like, no.
No, don't do that.
Just come up and chit chat. But at the same time, I know that I have bumped into I don't know how many people, and I'm just like, I'm going to say something stupid. I know I am. I know I'm going to say something stupid because here I come. I'm saying something stupid because I'm enamored.
Be normal. I know.
Look. Hey, look at there.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Right? There's Steven.
So I do have a story on this. So the very first time we went to Brick World, I'm really trying hard to get all my stuff set up the very first day so that I could just, have fun. And I'm trying to put something together. And Dana comes over with Paul Hetherington. It just says, and I was like, oh, I don't know you. And Dana just says, oh, it's Paul. Well, I'm like, okay, it's a guy named Paul. He's like tallish, there's a lot of Pauls in the Lego world, and I don't really put it together. And meanwhile, I'm building something, and I knock over this whole thing, and he's helping me pick up the pieces off of the floor. And then I go back, and they're like, no, it's Paul Hetherington, the guy from. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, oh, you did that thing with the color, and you did the giant thing with the underwater, the god of the Poseidon. And I was like, I loved the Poseidon, and total fanboyed it. I was like, once I realized that Paul, yeah.
And I love doing that to Matthew too, by the way. I love doing that to him.
See, we don't walk around calling him Paul. He's got a celebrity name. He's Paul Hetherington. Right. It's like the whole name, right?
Well, and the other thing is too is I've had people since I've brought the mosaic. I've had a couple people come and just be like, "Oh, I'm so excited to meet you because you made that mosaic," and I'm like, "I'm just a regular person, It's just big, I mean, other people make gorgeous mosaics." And I'm like, sure, I'll be happy to talk. And I've had people kind of fanboy, fangirl, and I'm like, I'm honored that you're excited to meet me, but I'm just a normal Lego person like all the rest of y'all, So I'm like, It's fun. I'm sure being on TV changes the dynamic just a little bit, but
That's true.
A little bit. We definitely get a lot of that. I'm sure Stephen can attest to that as well. But yeah, definitely people coming up and just having fun meeting us just for the heck of it and not knowing what to say. And even saying, I'm totally fangirling right now and I don't know what to say. So, right. And then you help them out a little bit. But it's just, it is a different dynamic and it is a lot of fun. But I've done it too. I've had nothing to say up to somebody say hi, hi, right? I've done it too.
It never fails.
We were in Tampa. Oh, sorry. We were in Tampa, and this little girl, she must have been 9. She runs up to us, and her parents were there and everything. She runs up, she says, "Would you sign my forehead?" I'm like, "What?" And her mom was like, "Would you?" And I'm like, "Okay, we'll still get over." So I signed her forehead, and Mark signed her forehead. She wanted to wear it to class the next day. She was so happy. So yeah, that's what I've been saying too. I'm just a normal guy, but I'm signing kids' foreheads now, like Dwayne Johnson cried aloud. So
please tell us.
Please
tell us it was permanent ink.
Yeah, it was a Sharpie.
Sharpie. Good
She was so happy.
Well, many
hilarious.
of us old guys, one of our big heroes is Pete Reed. He, designed the exosuit that came out a few years back. Did the space book, the really amazing thing. And back in the day, this was probably 2006, one of the last original Brick Fests. And he comes, and I know he's coming and everything. And he's British, and I'm very Southern. And so we meet each other for the first time. And I am so excited to see him. I have the thickest Yosemite Sam accent flowing out of me talking to him. Yeah. He has the thickest Cockney accent, British accent coming at me. And we're talking to each other for like 20 minutes, but we have no idea what we're saying. We're both speaking English, but it ain't the same side of the pond English. And finally, I just kind of
needed a translator.
I'm going to have to unscramble them eggs, buddy, because I don't understand, but it's so good to meet you. So.
You needed somebody to translate English to English so that you guys could figure out what you guys are saying to each other.
English
That's hilarious.
Martin Harris. Martin could have maybe translated. Yeah.
So
there you go. Martin would have been a great one to translate.
Perfect.
Yeah. Martin's taking a social media break. I don't know if y'all saw his announcement about that.
Yeah.
He's certainly not taking a message
the other day saying you're okay, right? And he go, yeah. I got to build and I got to take some time. So
he's certainly not taking a building break. That's for sure.
Is he been in the store? Is he cleaning y'all out?
Oh, he's been around, but he's got all kinds of things going on. So don't worry about Martin.
Yeah. All right. So Jen, to know, Martin lives in Alabama, but he drives to I don't know if he ever sleeps, but he comes. He will slip into Georgia, clean out all the good, like pick a brick and all the stuff, all over, and we're looking for brick, and it's all with him in Alabama.
He's a phantom. He disappears.
He is.
He's known for cleaning you out. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Steven,
I can
real
totally
quick,
see
what's
that.
up in your little world?
Oh, what was that?
What you building? What you doing?
Oh, yeah. So we just finished a bunch of shows. We did Virginia and Tampa like only a few weeks ago. Both of them were amazing. We had so much fun. We're getting ready for Charleston coming up in a couple of weeks. I think it's in the early part of October. Later part of October. So we're perfecting the Rock Raiders thing a bit. No more Tree Guys for now. We'll wait on that. But we're also going to lean into some space, which should be fun. So we've got some UFOs attacking some classic space guys. So that should be very exciting. We'll have it black lights hitting everything, so everything glows very nicely. So we're happy about that. Always got to have something with lighting. So after that, we're probably going to have we're going to lean into the space a little bit more because we have all that big bag of minifigures, spacemen, just sitting there doing nothing. So we figured we'd use them. So we're having fun with those. Other than that, just catching up on a lot of the backlog, a lot of the sets we're doing. We made some Star Wars sets, some Indiana Jones sets, and got some Batman sets too. Actually, DC of all sets. I built him recently. I actually love this guy. He's really cool. But yeah, there you go, space. But doing a lot of commissions. Rock Raiders is awesome. Thank you. I'll pass that along to Mark. But yeah, doing a lot of commissions, doing a lot of stuff like that, and just staying really busy.
Sweet.
Mhm.
All right.
That's awesome.
Good deal. Good deal. Glad you're here. Are you coming Saturday, by the way, to the lug meeting? You're not going to be able to make it up to the lug meeting?
Y'all have it on the busiest days for me. Saturdays, I'll send Mark on our behalf. How about that? I want to go so bad, but it's always so busy. Unfortunately, I'm kind of a sales manager
Steven,
at the store.
do you know
Yeah.
if Mark's going to be on tonight?
No, Mark will not be on tonight. Sorry.
Okay. I want to show this to you then. I had a friend of mine at Brick Slopes say, hey, is Mark coming? Is Mark and Steven coming? And I was like, no, they're not coming to Brick Slopes this time. And they were like, oh, bummer, because I had something that I custom printed for him and I want to make it because this guy has access to a custom printing. No, not Nexo Knights. It's Rock Raiders. So he used the Rock Raider guy from the video game. And I know that this is like a really expensive minifig, but he like custom printed it. So I've got it to send to Mark. So when I send you guys your stuff, I'm sending you guys a package. So I'll just pop this in there for Mark from my friend TJ. Shout out to TJ. He's freaking awesome. He's in my lug.
Sounds super familiar.
I wonder if that's the guy that Brian's brick. Our friend Brian is getting some of his Chiefs from. I bet it's the same guy.
It is. It's the same guy.
That
okay,
is
cool.
Amazing. We have a very cracked one that we have, and it's worth like $400. So yeah, it's
right?
a damaged one is very expensive. So yeah, that's extremely cool. So yeah, I will.
Yeah,
I'll make sure Mark knows about that. That's super awesome.
I sent him a picture and a text from Brick Slopes when I first got it. I was like, oh my gosh, we got to show Mark this, right? This is so cool. He's gonna love this and so yeah, totally.
Very good.
And so but he hasn't seen it like in person, right? So I'm waiting to send it to him. But if I was gonna say, if you guys were on tonight, I'll just show everybody tonight.
We're thinking about Brick World, so we might be able to meet up then. Or at the latest, probably, maybe sometime earlier. So we'll see.
Which Brick World?
If Jen,
Chicago.
If Jen comes with Susan to Atlanta, you could see her then.
See, there you go.
See BrickCon, see all this.
Just dropping that subtle hint.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe. We'd love to have you.
No pressure.
I would love to come.
It does happen on a Saturday, so that might not be good for you guys.
Oh, I'm allowed to let a BrickCon.
You're gonna be working BrickCon, I'm pretty sure, right?
I'm gonna be signing books. That's what I'm gonna be doing. So yeah.
Oh, that's epic! And if you guys haven't read his book yet, his book is amazing. Go out and buy his book right now.
Plug, I promise. So.
We have it. It's amazing.
That book, awesome. That book, is that the one?
What's that?
How I fell in love with Nexo Knights. Is
Oh yeah, the whole book is about not building Nexo Knights. Yeah.
Yeah, it's this romantic novel about Steven and Nexo Knights.
That's a terrible tragedy at the end.
Now I have something I have to write.
Everyone dies in the end, yeah.
Except for Steven and his flaming sword, and all the his enemies are driven before him. All the Nexo Knight characters. So.
Exactly. It's a terrible tragedy. It's like an opera sort of thing.
All right. We kind of checked in with Matt. Matt, is there anything else going on in your Lego world you want to report?
So during the course of the show prep and the first 15 minutes of the show, I finished the Ninjago City Dragons, Rising Dragons, and I stepped out of the camera because I'm trying to make room so it'll go next to the rest of the Ninjago City. So I am a huge fan of the Ninjago City elements, and I was very excited when I was very focused on finishing the mosaic in the first 5 months of 2023. I built almost no store sets, and so since then it's been a bonanza of store sets that were kind of piling up in my Lego room of someday I'll get the chance to build these. So super excited to finally finish Ninjago City and expand yet again more shelf as our colleague Mark refers to them, shelf sitters. But I'm very excited about this shelf sitter, so I'm making space. So that's what's happening in my house. Space.
The quest for space.
That's right. All right, Dana. Let's Dana. I think you also have something to show off to one of our guests, I believe. Or are you going to wait till both are present?
I'll wait for the Powerball display for when they're in person because that'll be so much more fun.
I got you.
That'll be so much more
All right, but anyway, Dana, what's up in your Lego world, buddy?
So what is that in the back left with the wings? What is that?
Oh, this bad boy.
Oh, my eyes.
Oh no, you gotta love this. Look
Oh,
at
my
this.
eyes.
When you flip the little wing, the little lever on the
Oh,
back,
it
his
burns.
wings flap and his mouth.
It burns.
Hey,
Actually,
that's
it's
a
pretty
Rock
cool.
Raider, right?
Actually, it's pretty cool. Not gonna lie, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
actually, this feature with the wings in the mouth, it's gold. I love it. I love it.
That's honestly pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Jokes
Actually,
aside.
I've been finding as I've been re-putting together all my Nexonite sets and making sure the pieces are all there. There are some really cool play features that I want to focus on and share with people. So you and your brother definitely will get tagged in those videos when they happen. So that being said, but that's for another time, like closer to February 14th for International Nexonite Day. But it's not for some people it's Shiptember, but for me and some others it is Friendshiptember. So today I actually started pulling the parts. I did a work in progress in studio, so I don't have anything to show, but I do have a bag of parts that I've started to pull, and I'm pulling the white ones as I'm sitting here talking with you guys. And then I'm actually gonna have to order some parts. So hopefully those will come in time by the end of the month, which I've got plenty of time. I got 2 weeks to get parts in, so I can build my Friendshiptember. I would have anecdotes to explain and show about that, but we'll save that for when I actually have it built, because then it'll be entertaining, and Mark and Chris and probably Nick will chime in at some point in time and make some cracks about it, because it'll be entertaining in that aspect. But,
challenge accepted.
So small segue. I showed Chris what I was building, and he shot me a picture of something from Flickr, and then I read through the comments on Flickr back and forth. And this is like from 2011 or something like that. And I could hear the dripping sarcasm from Mark Sandlin and also Nick coming through the comments. So
things haven't changed.
AFOLs don't change. They may change what they build, but they don't change. So that needs to be said. There was something. Oh, I know what it was. I did go to the Lego store yesterday. I know that's a rarity in itself, and it was a Wednesday. But I got there, and I got to build the little Dreams micro build, which was today or yesterday and today. And then I think they're also doing it both Saturday and Sunday from noon until 2. And Mark and Chris and Matthew and I were joking in chat about this, and Chris makes comments like, well, I'm sure Dana probably got more than one. He can just give you one, Mark. I'm like, no, I didn't flex those muscles to do that. However, the employee asked me, do you want the alternate build in case we run out of the turtle? So I got the parts and the sheet to build this little car, which if they run out of the parts for the turtle on Saturday or Sunday, then kids can build a little car. So things happen. It's like going
poor
to
little
Sears.
kid's not going to get their model.
I know. But I also
poor little kid's not going to get their model, and it's going to be your fault.
Oh, that's cool.
Listen to this.
I only took one of the original, but I was excited. They did have the new October Halloween BAM figure pieces up. But what was interesting is that they only had them like this. They had not put the new pieces into the BAM. They've actually an in-store policy for this store, not other stores, that they've decided to not throw the parts into the BAM until after the end of September. So until the month of September, you can only get them this way at North Point. I don't know what Sugarloaf is doing. I'll find out on Saturday when I go to the lug meeting and pop in there and say, hey. But yeah, so that's it for now.
Kind of weird.
Let's talk about Jen's lighting and mocks. I got questions.
Yeah. I will take a moment to say Friendshiptember is happening at my house, but we have a friendship that is also a ship. So
look at that.
Fabulous colors.
I'm getting there. I am not used to building these colors.
It's like Cadillac wings on the back. It looks so good.
Right.
That's great.
A dual purpose ship. You can friendship and Shiptember.
Double dipping.
Covering both bases.
I want a Shiptember build now.
See, there you go. You got to build it. All right. So, Jen, you tell really quick, Jen, if you'll just give us a quick, how long you've been to Lego, how long you have your Lego story condensed down, and then we'll get into talking to you about your builds. How about that?
I know. It's like, how long you got? No, really, honestly. I started when I was 6. I've always been a Lego kid. Packed it up and put it away when I had babies in the house, but I never had a Dark Ages. Always loved my Lego. busted it out and started doing art projects maybe like 8 years ago based on my background in photography, and started doing portraits. And then it wasn't until I started doing that I realized that there was a whole Lego community out there. Like I had been closet building, like, don't tell anybody I'm doing this. Everybody's going to think I've gone mad, gone crazy. But yeah, I found this whole community, found that I had a local lug and started doing stuff with them. And then started doing stuff with my local Comic-Con and met a bunch of awesome people. And then I got recruited to do Fox Lego Masters, and that was way fun, and got to go on season 2 with Susan, and just been a ton of fun since then. So diehard Lego fan right here. Yeah, absolutely love it. So as far as what I'm building like right now, I'm not going to show you the floor of my Lego room because it is like not walkable. I've got so much stuff sorted and everything on the floor. There's Lego everywhere. It's insane. But I do have some mosaic pieces
no
that
one
I'll
in
just...
here there's no one ever in here that's ever brave enough to show the floor, because we all know.
I know.
We all know.
This is pretty, right? Like all my drawers, it's very pretty. Yay. But my floor, I'm sitting right here, but that's all I got. Like everything else is Lego.
Do you do the thing where you scoot your chair and you run over a piece? You're like, ooh, I hope that wasn't rare. And then you...
I cracked it. I know, right? It's so true. But here, let me show you something I brought to Brick Slopes. And I've had this at a couple conventions now. Mm-hmm. But I made a Care Bear.
That is adorable.
Stare.
She even has a little heart on her butt. Boop.
It's awesome.
But my little Love-A-Lot bear, that was really fun to do.
That's fabulous.
And then you guys want to talk about Brick Slopes? Let me pull over Salazar Slytherin. So one day in my lug, one of my friends comes up and she's showing off an X-Wing that she had made in Gryffindor colors from Harry Potter. And my mind started racing, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you've got to have Voldemort in an X-Wing. I mean, in a TIE fighter. Like, we're gonna make a trench run. Like, there's." And she's like, I've already done it." She says, and I was like, "What?" She was like, "I want to do it at Brick Slope." I was like, "Please let me be a part of this. I still want to be a part of this." And so we started conspiring together and collaborating and doing this big build. And so I wanted to sculpt Salazar Slytherin's face at the end of the trench run, at the end of the Chamber of Secrets, where we're mashing together Hogwarts and Star Wars. And so,
whoa,
holy moly!
Oh wow!
Word.
Oh wow!
Now that right there, holy cow!
It's crazy. Looks
wild.
And so we had Basilisk coming out of his mouth, a little door. We wanted to motorize his door, but that didn't happen in time. So we've got FanX coming up. And so we're trying to figure out what else we're going to add and tweak. None of us, I think you guys can relate to this, are ever done with our builds. We're always like, well, then we can change this and we can add this and we can do this, right? It's like, oh my gosh. So many new things that we want to do for it. But one of the things we really wanted to do was light it up so that when we had World of Lights, it would be lit up. And so there are so many amazing lighting elements out, LED lights that can fit inside of Lego Elements. And we got our hands on some really teeny tiny ones so that we could use the tiniest, I don't have one with me, the tiniest little flames that go on top of the little Lego candles. You know what I'm talking about? The little tiny flames.
Yeah.
We were able to run an LED up inside those and make those flicker. Like firelight, and that was so fun. So we had all these torches on the back wall, these little torches surrounding the snake heads on the back wall of the trench run. And so I am not that great with the LED lighting, and that's something I really want to flex my muscle on and get better at. And so if you want to put lighting in your build and you're having a hard time with it, find a friend who knows how to do it. That's what you do. There's like you guys, there's so many people online that you can use as a resource, or just ask, and all of us that I've met at least are totally willing to open and open to questions and helping others out. And it's really fun. So what else do we want to light up? We want to light up the cockpit. We wanted to light up Salazar's eyes maybe and have like mist coming out of his mouth around the basilisk as the basilisk was coming out. Light up the basilisk eyes. We've got all kinds of fun things that extra stuff that we're wanting to do. But lighting up the cockpits is going to be a little bit tough. The Millennium Falcon is big enough that you can put the battery pack and everything in it as it's elevated on its own stand off the board. But running wires and everything to everything else is a little bit tricky, and we're trying to figure that out right now. So any pointers would be great.
So when I was walking around, I came upon our run, Jason, who is from Atlanta, and he just happened to be out in Salt Lake visiting family. He walked around the floor with me, and we ended up stopping and gawking at your trench run for an extended period of time. And one of the cool things that she didn't mention is that she has a custom-built acrylic stand that holds up the Millennium Falcon that's made by somebody that's also out there in Salt Lake. And so they have the ships, looking like they're hanging in space. Dana's like, who could that be that made it? Dana's had some interactions with them as well. If you want to credit them, I'm forgetting the name of the company. It's not Wicked. What is it?
Bricks.
Tricked Out Bricks.
I've seen them around.
Tricked Out Bricks.
Flicker effect.
Plexiglass work. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. And they will make, if you've got a very particular type of stand that you need, and the Millennium Falcon, of course, is large enough that it would have taken more than one regular stand. And so they made one that was extra tall and strong enough to hold it up. Again, just as you could reach out to other lug people for advice and suggestions, there are even some of the vendors are willing to work with you if you've got a specific kind of need, and Tricked Out Bricks is willing to do that. Dana's had interactions with them. Obviously, Jen, you have as well. But the flicker effect, for when the lights went down was really impressive. And we talked to, we were standing around gawking at yours, but we also ran around to the back of the hall. And there was a guy who literally brought in his Lego room, and he had a space, and he had Therlite containers, and he had like all these different light sources. And I'm spacing on his name. Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, I'm spacing on his name too. Yes, I know his name. Hold on. It's coming. Give me. I want to look on my phone because I've got him down by like not his name, right? And then I'd be able to know his name.
Right.
Give me.
Right.
Keep going. But yes, he literally brought his whole Lego room. They were unpacking boxes and boxes, and he set up his Lego room.
And he showed us these light source, the wiring for these very thin lights that Jen was talking about, and they're about the same width as a human hair. So, he was talking about how he has a much younger person who helps with some of the lighting because it's hard to see. The wiring is so thin and so delicate that he's like, he actually has one of those like magnifying glasses on an arm that you can pull over, and he's like putting the wiring and threading it through bricks. And, he's like, at my age, I could benefit from a little magnification. But he was talking about how, he's worked with this other younger gentleman who was at the convention also, and he has better eyes, but it's that tiny so that you can do some just fantastic things.
Oh, crazy.
Yes, literally the width of a human hair. And so you can wedge them in between the tolerances of Lego, right? Because in between bricks, there's a tiny little bit of tolerance. And so you can weave one of these little wires in between all of that, and it's fabulous. So one of our guys in our lug, who is an awesome expert at it, and also a space guy, Will, he's the one that helped us with our lighting and to get that flicker effect. And we didn't want them just on. We wanted them to flicker like they were fire, like they were flames. And the technology is out there. It's amazing.
Do we have
the
photos
other thing that I would
see it?
The other thing that struck me, I looked on the Instagram, and I don't have it handy immediately. The other thing that struck me about the mashup of combining Harry Potter and Star Wars is that it gives you a certain amount of creativity. So you're not just reproducing one particular kind of fandom one particular kind of genre or item, but you get the choice. You get the choice of where you're going to include things from Harry Potter and when you're going to include things from Star Wars, and there's a certain amount of creativity that goes along with that.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering if
absolutely.
you have-
And the mashup was really fun. Once you start mashing up two worlds, like you're talking about, like space and Vikings, right? Like all kinds of different ideas come in, and then there could be this and there's just all kinds of tangents can happen once you start mashing things up. And lots of people love mashups. It makes my brain so happy. And then some people don't care for them at all, but it's just fun to see what people come up with.
Moto.
And occasionally,
sorry, just quickly, shout out to Moto for clipping that piece of comment that Stephen made and posting it on Facebook.
Stephen, no, it's out there now.
Moto, what did you do?
When you were like next, we've got Stephen quoting saying,
Oh, no.
Oh well, that's actually awesome.
I'm tied to the internet.
Oh, no.
I forgot about that. Wait, what did you say? Where is it? I don't have Facebook. What's going on?
Your comment was that's actually pretty awesome when you were referring to.
No. Okay, objectively, it's not the worst Lego theme, not even by a long shot.
I hate to hijack this conversation for a second, but I have to ask because you're here. When your brother brought home the Fortrex specifically to smash to scrape the parts into his inventory, how did he get the Fortrex in the first place? Did somebody give it to him or did he buy it?
This was okay. Again, I don't want to derail the conversation either. We're having a fun talk about building lighting.
I want you to put that question to your brother, and we'll move on.
Okay.
And we'll talk about it later.
The link's in private chat, just so you guys know.
Mark got the Fortrex a while ago, a good while ago. It was actually given to him by one of our regular shoppers at Atlanta Brick Co. I don't remember who it was exactly, but very prolific collector. Somebody who doesn't mind, spending a bit of cash. One of those sorts of people. A very generous person. And he ended up buying Mark the Fortrex. This is before he would do the armor thing. We'd wear the armor if we get enough likes on the video. It's pretty funny. But he bought it for him. And we built it for a joy building, which was fun. So we got some use out of it. And then he bought it. But I think he told him, look, if you buy this for me, I'm going to destroy it just for fun. And he did it anyway. So he was very flattered, very honored. Thank you and stuff like that. So he eventually, as you saw, took a crowbar and loosened it up a lot. Like it was barely holding together and smashed it. So yeah, that's just what Mark does. It's actually one of the reasons he does that. It's kind of like a way of saying like, hey, you don't have to keep the sets together. They're meant to come apart and put back into new stuff. Like, I mean, there's no Care Bear Lego set, no awesome Care Bear Lego set. You got to make that on your own.
Okay, maybe for other things, not for the Fortrex. That was just smashy. You could see the rage as he smashed that thing.
Yeah, Mark is a little crazy sometimes. So yeah, it's like.
Anyway,
No,
sorry,
I would not buy that.
All right,
Galador, on the other hand, we bought that.
All right, so really quick, a terrible show prep on my part. Is there any pictures of the Harry Potter Star Wars mashup that I can throw up for our viewers? Were any taken that you know of?
Let's see. Do you need a URL for like online, or can I just send you like a video?
You can share a video.
Share a video in the private chat over here to the side there, and then I'll try to pull it up in here.
Yeah.
All right, give me a second to find it.
Deal. Okay. Looked like fun, by the way. I'm sad to have missed out on that one. It looked like a great show.
It was a blast. Well, I had to leave
Go ahead.
I was
if it came to Atlanta, we'd be excited.
Right? That would be epic. Have brick slopes all over in various states. But I had to leave in the middle of brick slopes, fly to Florida, do a thing with Tyler Kleitz from season 1, fly back and finish up brick slopes. So I got to set up brick slopes, say hi to all my AFL friends, fly out, come back on the very last day and say hi to public days. So it was kind of a crazy turnaround. I was a little bit tired, but it was definitely worth it. It was a lot of fun.
Wow.
You got to see Tyler's trophy. That is
I
so
did.
interesting. That is so cool. I've never seen it. I want to see it one day.
Well, actually, she didn't see Tyler's trophy. She saw Jen's trophy. Or Amy's
Oh,
trophy.
Oh,
She saw Amy's
throwing the
trophy.
gauntlet.
I forgot to say Amy as well. Tyler and Amy's trophy. Excuse me. Yeah, that is really. It's a slightly different design. That is interesting. There's a stud on the top of the dome.
Okay.
And that's the thing.
Now,
ours is just a dome.
Is yours hollow? Can you open it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's hollow. It's about 3 bricks thick all the way around. So.
Yeah. And so his had a lid, and you could take the lid off, and he was letting kids look inside and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I had all the minifigs around, but I snuck in my minifig onto his trophy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
A little video of me sneaking in my little nurse Jen right there next to Corey. And it was just a lot of fun to see in person. And Tyler is super awesome with his fans. And so it was really fun getting to see that. And
that's so cool.
Talk about like how we all like have fun teasing each other. We're in Florida. Tyler's from Florida. So he's got home court advantage when it comes to like the fans, right? And he just kept asking people, so which season is best, he'd say? Is it season 1 or is it season 2? And it's like, I'm right here. You can't ask that question, right?
What are the fans saying? What did they say? With mostly season 1?
Of course, to his face, they'd say season 1,
yeah,
and then then they'd come over to me and be like, "I liked season 2 as well," or "Really, I like season 2 better," or something like that, right? Like I definitely got like I got my revenge. It was great, but absolutely fun, so much fun. Like the fans were having a ton of fun, and then there were several kids who like didn't even acknowledge that I was there or that Tyler was there and just beelined it for the trophy. They're just like, oh, the trophy, right?
It's been in all 4 seasons.
But it's the trophy.
Okay, so while she's looking for the link, we were talking about fangirling and being excited. This appeared at Brick World Chicago 2 summers ago, and if you can read it. Yeah, it's a little LM, and it said, so one of the things that I think all of us are happy about is the sort of evolution of leaving like tokens showing that like you just like something. And some people have little micro builds, which is pretty awesome. The LM, I immediately went, okay, Lego Masters. I know exactly what this LM is supposed to be. Sometimes you get tokens and you're like, I'm not sure who this is, but I appreciate the fact that somebody liked a build that I brought. And so I feel that in the last 2 years, the whole token culture has just exploded, and the number of people leaving things in stickers and micro builds and things like that is a lot of fun. So Jen, I think you were on the leading edge of this 2 summers ago when you went to Brick World Chicago and left some of your micro LMs. And I'm actually like, I got to raise my game. Like, I got to bring something to conventions that I can leave for other people who build I appreciate.
Well, I in no way can take credit for this. I got the idea from tokens left on some of my builds that when I first started going to conventions, and I was like, "What's this? Like, what is going on here?" And as soon as I received that love, I absolutely wanted to turn around and give it back. And so that trophy that you're holding right there was actually a trophy that I built at the very first Lego Masters convention on the set of Lego Masters. So we were all sitting around having lunch together and decided that we would bring the builds that we do for our intro videos. They have us actually pack a build that we build together and bring it on the airplane with us. And so it shows me and Susan, like for 3 seconds on the very first episode, building on this mountain that we've built together. And all of the teams had brought this personalized build that described your team. And so we set them all around us and basically had a convention where we could go and, oogle and ask questions about each other's builds. And I brought that and I threw that together and I was like, guys, we need to have a little, everybody take a picture of this and copy it. And you all can pass this around so that we can use them as little trophies at conventions when we start going to conventions now.
That was the sushi bar thing we did, right? Is that what you're talking
about?
Yes. We called it COVID Con.
That's right.
Instead of COVID. The only convention that was happening for that almost that whole year was in Lego Masters, the Hilton Hotel. That was it.
And
So that
Matthew,
was a
Right?
wonderful memory. I love
I
it.
have to thank Matthew for bringing this up because I too got one of Jen's micro builds, and it did prompt me to build a micro build to take to Chicago. So that was because of you. So you did carry it forward, and I took that and made a little build to take with me to Chicago. So I carried.
That makes
forth
me
the
really
love.
happy. I love it. I love it.
Carried forth the love.
Pay it forward. Thank
Yep.
you.
I
Thank
got
you for
one
doing that.
too, and I made little gray bricks, but my new one is going to be a mini micro Waffle House. So I'm actually starting to build. I got a couple, so yeah.
Do it. So I went to the Discovery Center here in Atlanta with Mark. We did an event with them. It was very fun, but they had these on sale for like $10. It's a foam Ninjago weapon. I forget what it's called. It's got something to do with the TV show. All these parts are dirt cheap, so I made like 20 of them, and I was just handing them out to people at Brick Fair while I was carrying this around. So that was a really fun moment. A couple of guys, there was like their first award they ever got, and they were freaking out. It was pretty fun. So yeah, the awards are fun. Usually I just drop a bunch of random Minecraft figures everywhere because they're very cheap.
Which you needed to explain that because people were so confused at Atlanta when you dropped those Minecraft.
Yes, they were confused.
Totally confused people. Totally confused people.
I told Nick ahead of time, like, hey, I got Minecraft figs. I'm just gonna dump them everywhere. He's like, okay, sounds good. So I just dumping them everywhere. I had people.
Some kid dumped his Minecraft figures all over here. What did he do?
Yeah, there's a creeper here, there's a zombie here, just like everywhere I could. I was just like mobbing the whole place, literally. So yeah, those are fun too. But yeah, that's this. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, but this was pretty funny. I had a holster made for it too. My mom sewed this thing for it, so it's a leather strap. It slides right in there, and it has a belt loop. So I was carrying this around the whole show.
Nice.
So it was funny.
It looks like one of those pickaxes that ice climbers would use as they're climbing up like a giant wall of
it does
icicles.
actually. Yeah, it looks like a rock climber's tool or something. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Different element, mind you, but still, yeah.
But yeah, it's fun to give out trophies. It's fun to see because there's only a few awards at every show, right? There's only like half a dozen at best. Yeah. So it's nice to see people like new builders get something really cool, and the mom or dad takes the picture with the kid. He's got his tiny little trophy that he's got, and it blows their minds. So it's very fun to see that. I'm glad more people have been doing it. So, yeah, I try to get in on the fun.
And I really love doing my own trophy because I think there's things that I see and that I appreciate based on my interests that will, absolutely make me giggle that the rest of the public or whoever's voting might not necessarily see in large enough numbers to get a trophy, right? And so I just want to, I love being able to like drop a little honorarium and just saying, I see you, man, and I absolutely love what you did there, and thanks for making me laugh, or this was really cool, or I loved your use of color, or whatever I was feeling at the time. And I just like being able to pick out those little fine details that don't always get talked about because like you're saying, the trophies are not that often. There's not that many trophies at each convention.
They're hard to get.
I've actually printed or got some printed for this convention coming up. It'll be my first one, but I'll have them at Atlanta BrickCon as well, assuming they last.
And
nice.
So one of the interesting things about doing that though is that some of them, like you said, Jen, some of them you know who they're from, some of them you don't know who they're from. And when I was in Chicago, not this year but the year before, there was this little kid. I didn't even know who he was, but he had done this moon or like terraforming layout with domes and little micro builds or whatever. It was a very spacey, cool theme, but wasn't big, a big 6 foot, 7 foot space cruiser that was getting everyone's attention. But it was really well done. And so I had left one of my space tiles for this kid by his little thing. And the next week, I got a message when I posted them on my Instagram that I left these when I was in Chicago, and a guy responded back. My son was so excited when he came back and saw that somebody had left him a little tile, and it was like, that's why you do it. Just for that response right there.
Well,
absolutely, 100%.
I think for the convention life is that when we walk around and we're like, we appreciate the build, but the builder's not there.
Right.
Especially in the off hours. it is a nice way to go, dude. I didn't get to talk to you, but this is amazing, or this, this is just super cool. It made me stop, and it made me be inspired, or whatever, and everything. Yeah, and for me, it'll be like you made me want hash browns, and so I'll just be popping that down. So.
The problem,
and,
like
and
you're
it doesn't
saying,
even have to be, it could just be a little detail. It doesn't even have to be like the whole build all in of itself, right? It could just be like a little tiny detail. It's like, I really like what you did there. Great part usage. Like you totally caught my attention. You made me stop and look. And so here you go. Here's some Lego love. Okay, so I have my little video.
All right.
Motobot.
If you got the URL, drop it in the private chat over here on the side. Okay.
Does
you need a URL. Okay.
Anyone know who did these in Chicago?
Those are really cute.
Yeah, I don't know. This was at Chicago. I don't know who gave them out.
I don't know who did those.
Yeah, random.
So Philip was saying we need to have a little registry of everybody's little trophies so that we can like look up who they're from, so that we can say thanks.
I know some people do like to be anonymous about it, but yeah, that would be cool. I would. Yeah, microfigs and that site thing. That's all I've done really so far.
I'm just realizing.
But even with the registry, you could say, okay, this is built by anonymous, and then the search is over. You don't you're not trying to find somebody to say thank you to, right? So that at least helps.
That would be cool. There'd be a lot of work, but it'd be really cool.
It would be a lot of work.
You got to have a bunch of them too, because I took 50 old gray bricks. I had 50 old gray, the original gray color, made little dudes from our logo there, and it didn't take me long to hand all of those out. I mean, they were gone, right? And then I'm like, well, I don't have any more. So, and the old gray bricks are not being made anymore, so that's why I'm gonna make a Waffle House. But anyway, but yeah, it's so amazing to give those out. And then you got those that made who made the shadow puppet thingy or whatever.
Oh yeah,
that was the master builder.
That was so cool.
Yeah,
so freaking cool. Yeah,
so amazing, right?
The master builder from the prior year was the one who did those 2 years ago. But yes.
I have one of those.
Dallin here in Utah builds micro versions of each build he wants to leave. Oh wow. So you get a micro build of your build, and the dude builds it. That's amazing.
That's not easy at all.
That's the guy that brought his Lego room to the convention, right?
Probably.
That's the only way you could do that.
Can't believe I don't remember his name. I'm going to remember. Like, I can see his face. We've had all kinds of conversations. Like, he's my friend. I feel really bad. I'm going to remember his name like in the middle of doing something else and just like shout it out.
This is crazy. I remember one of the days at Brick Fair, Alabama, back when it was still a thing. I made I think it was 15 totally unique trophies and handed them out, and I only remember like 2 of them. So I feel bad now because I had some really good ones, and like,
I like your castle. I like your castle.
Oh, that's epic.
Nice.
So what I'll do, Steven, is every time I drop a trophy, I take a picture of my trophy next to their name sign so that I know their name and the name of their build. And then I take a second picture of their actual build. So on my phone, I have a picture of the trophy that I dropped and their name plaque, and then a picture of their build so that I can scroll through and like remember.
It's probably on my old iPhone, but I think
stealing ideas from you. So you keep telling
Jen,
me.
I got that link. I sent a permission request. If you can hit that button, to see if we can get this pulled up.
Gotcha.
Aubrey said Ryan was the one who brought his room.
Okay, so it was Ryan who brought his room, but it was Dallin Powell who did the micro builds of statues, which is cool.
And so Jason, our log, who is very interested in lighting, Jason and I went over and talked to Ryan, and he's like showing us the tiny filament lights and all the connections that he's using. And at one point he makes some statement about electricity, and he looks at me and he goes, right? And I was like, whatever. I was like, you're talking to this guy. because Jason was I'm like, he's the one who knows about lighting. I'm just a passenger in this conversation. But he was super nice and was willing to explain his techniques. As Jen noted, there's a lot of goodwill in the community, and there isn't a lot of like, I'm going to keep this a secret because I don't want anybody to use it. I think for most of us, if somebody mimics or copies something, we take it as a compliment. And I remember meeting Mark and Steven when they were teenagers, which, it wasn't that long ago for them, but they came to one of their mom drove them to our lug meeting, and they brought this rock wall with a waterfall. And I don't remember which one of you I talked to, but that was you. Okay. And I said, how do you do the rock work? You make it, I was like, if I build things, it's very hard for me to make things that look random because my brain wants it to be like structured. And I remember from the conversation, one of the things was, I think you said, well, just do it really quick and don't think don't think too much about it. Work quickly and just grab pieces and start, rocking it up, and then don't give your brain too much time to like, it all has to be aligned just right,
That's good
but
advice
just sharing
that I forgot about.
That's really good advice, though, especially for rock building.
So
don't think about it. Just
I
go.
really forgot about that. So no. Nowadays, I would say if you want to learn rocks, go on a hike. Go on a hike and look around at actual boulders and stuff like that. Look at their colors, look at their designs, look at what like the general shape or lack thereof, and just really like soak it up as best as you can. For me, I'm very observant. I try to, when I see something, I want to do it. So that's for me. Oh, what's up, Jeff?
You could also go to Alabama and just fall on the concrete, off the concrete sidewalk. You'll see rocks that way too.
Oh, you get very acquainted with stone. After that.
That's a different story.
You're pulling him out of your chin. Oh, there's a nice rock. Oh,
Yeah.
look, there's a nice rock right there.
Jen, for context, Jeff took a pretty nasty fall at a convention down here, and he was badly bloodied up pretty bad. So yeah, sorry about that, Jeff.
He healed.
So rocks. Okay.
It looks so painful.
But to add to what Steven says, when you're out there observing, pick one or two elements that you want to, like if you're looking at a rock, one or two parts of that rock that you want to emphasize. So if it's a jaggedy rock, then you're going to use slopes, right? But if it's a smoother rock, you might end up using curved, smoother pieces. If it's in more of a, the water rock area, kind of where those are all smoothed over by water. So it's just Moto. I freaking love it.
Good for you, Moto. Yeah.
So speaking of Stephen and Mark, when we still had Brick Fair Alabama, they were bringing, pre-built mocks, and I think they whipped together this church. I think it was a church on site.
Oh my!
And I walked over and I was like, this is one of my favorite things that you built. And they were like, oh, we built it after we got here, and I hated them immediately. They had bought enough brick that they built this church as part of the layout at the convention site during
what else?
And I'm like,
you know what else? We built it too big. It didn't fit in the castle. So all that work couldn't go into the castle. By 3 studs, we were too big. 2 on one side, 1 on the other. We couldn't put it in the castle. I don't know. Like we had like 2 of our friends would go in and out helping us every now and then. John and like another buddy of ours. I think Andy or something. And we were building it, and everyone loved it. We're just like, this is a last minute panic, and people just ate it up. Yeah. And we're like, why does everyone love this so much? This is crazy. I remember that vividly. That church drove us mad because it wasn't done and it couldn't fit in the castle when we were done with it. But everyone loved it. Like, it was the weirdest. That was the most unique experiences at a show ever. So for me, at least. So.
The dangerous thing is, I'm glad it didn't lead for you delaying your buildings until the actual setup day. Like, you didn't make that a tradition at every convention where you're like, well, let's just build it on the floor of the convention. Like you haven't done that since.
Yes. And we did that for the Rock Raiders thing Mark did recently. It was 9 p.m. Okay. The night that morning we were going to leave for the show. It was 9 p.m. we were done. So yeah, it's so, I don't know how we do it around here. We're all nuts. We're just a bunch of wackos who don't know what they're doing. So it's something else, guys. It's a madhouse.
How old were y'all then?
I don't care how streamlined it looks when we're done. It's madness. So.
Geez, now what year was that?
Alabama. That was what castle was that? That was like the year before it stopped, I think. So I would say
2018. No, 2019.
Yeah, I think it was. I think 2019, Mark brought his Greek city, and I brought my floating islands. But before that, it was a very large castle. I think it was 2018. Yeah.
That's right.
Martin, that was
2019,
an
there
era
was
big
Big
giant
Bear,
guy.
Alabama, and then COVID hit, and that was the last convention for like ever, right?
Basically,
So-
for years, that was the last one, and it was a good one. It was a good one.
It was. Do you got
Yeah,
the
it was.
video to Zoom?
Do you need a different format?
It just says it's processing. So let me see what it says now. Yeah, it says
I'm
video is still
converting it to
processing.
Okay, I'm converting it to MP4 if that will work better.
Sure.
Will Great Bricks have official Instagram? You could like share it later if it doesn't work.
Well,
it
now there's a
doesn't, but we should.
concept that we should have done.
You know
Social
what?
media, I don't know.
I don't know either.
The video could be shared as a comment on our YouTube display.
There you go. There you go. If it doesn't
we
work,
throw it in the
you can
comments.
try that. Yeah. So it's good to have a backup plan.
Yeah. All right. You guys, any questions for Jen on her process, how she does? You are more of a mosaic and artistic builder than I'm more of a build toy, cool thing that I wanted to build as a kid kind of builder. And we're kind of varying in between here and all that kind of stuff. Any questions for you guys that you have for her building process?
I'll let Steven go first.
All right, this is a really cliche one, but I'm looking at that wall behind and it looks amazing. How do you keep it so dashed organized?
Steve, I'm sure you get asked this question a lot too. We get
I
asked
do.
a lot how we organize our stuff. Do you separate it by element or by color or what? And I always love this question because you're not going to like my answer. It's both. I do color for finishing off things and element, but wait for it. I also have those separated and doubled as old parts and new parts. So I have four organizational ways of doing all of this back here. So I know,
I don't
right?
hate it, but I'm amazed. I would never have the patience for that. That's insane. Well done. Pat yourself on the back.
Well, thank you. And then I use like little condiment cups to separate everything out.
Nice.
Huh? Okay.
So I'll use like these little, right?
Wow.
Cool.
Nice.
It's the size that we used to get for queso at Moe's. We don't get that size anymore. So
It just depends on the drawer as to how big I've got it sectioned out because I want to be able to pull things out and put them on my table and work. So it just depends.
Yeah. Crazy.
And you're not having to scoop parts out. You've got little cups in each tray. That's very clever.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I'd say that's also very original. I don't know that I've run across other Lego folks that do it that. But with the removable sub trays, you've got the sub tray option there.
Yeah, the sub
Well,
trays.
because I want to be able to like spread them out all over my desk, right? Like in order to do this call today, I actually paused. Here, I'm going to show you my desk right now.
I'm with you, Chris.
Get ready for this, right?
Here,
All right. So you can see I've got all my stuff out because I've been working on a mosaic. So I've got all of my Lego out on my desk right now.
Wow.
So
Okay. All right. You
still didn't get to see my floor.
Okay. Well, you gave me this thing that's like, okay, at least she's like us that her floor is messy. But then you show me your desk, your build desk, and it's neater than my storage back here. So I don't want to hear it, right?
So I noticed you had up a couple screens, and because you're multitasking. So when you do your mosaics, and you've done a lot of very photorealistic mosaics, is how I would classify your style of mosaics. Are you plotting that out manually on your own, or what do you typically do to get things started?
All right, I have tried to explain this to people, and hopefully I will do better this time because I seem to lose. It makes sense to my brain, but it doesn't seem to make sense to everybody else's brain. So take a photo, right, that you want to do, and I manipulate it in any kind of photo program that you have. So I just I'm an Apple, I've got my Mac, and so I'm just using the photo program that I've got in Mac. Mm-hmm. And then I run it through like a mosaic program. There's lots of mosaic programs out there, and I really don't like any of them as far as the results that they spit out. So I'll run it through a Mosaic program, and then I will build it in, well, I'll make a lot of changes and do that back and forth. And then I'll build it in Studio and make a lot more changes. And the reason I love Studio is because mosaics, you need to be able to see from a distance. And so I can zoom in and zoom out as I'm building that and change the colors. And so when I'm building, I'll put 4 Lego colors together in a block that basically your eye will mix together as colors. So kind of like painting with bricks kind of thing.
So are you manually dithering? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Hey, this was a family show. Don't say.
Well, to make you feel better, you explained that, and I understood exactly where you're coming from through the whole thing. Because I'm curious, because Matthew and I have done, as you know, big things like this. And one of my problems, and that's part of the reason why I went so large on the mosaic I was doing, because I couldn't get the level of detail that I wanted at a smaller resolution. So I had to go to the DPI that I wanted to do at a bigger size. And there was no program that could handle that. I had to dither it at the DPI I wanted, and then bring it in and massage it, and then, spend a week or so just trying to get it so that my Mac wouldn't crash if I opened up more than half of it at one time. So I was curious to see.
So when you say dither, are you talking about like stippling your colors into each other?
Yes.
Okay. So
family show.
So
Come on.
For everybody else out there, okay, here I've got a sample right behind me. I've got a sample behind me. All right.
I don't know what y'all are talking about at all.
Speaking in tongues or something. I don't know. I mean,
see, that's
okay, so you see all the you see all the different colors here, right? This is just a section of mosaic here, but you see how I have stippled, like basically I've pulled the black down through here, and I've put brown in between there, and I'm also using dark blue and dark reds, right? Yep. But when you back this out, you can start to see an eyebrow. Does it go this way? It goes this way. It's an eye, and that's his hair. Yep. You can start to see the cheekbone, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. But then when you come back in, so how do you know where to put the different colors, right? And so it's got, I call this stippling because that's what I did in art class, where you just use a bunch of different dots of different colors.
And stippling is definitely the painting term versus the photography term, which is dithering. The dither, got it. Taking colors to combine to fool your eye that it's a color that's not actually there. Yes,
and that's what I do with the colors mixing together. Okay, now here's the part where I lose people. Are you ready for this?
All
right. Hopefully you can stay with me. I don't actually mix my colors by the colors. So, for instance, pink is way too pink for skin tones. The brown is too dark. The sand green, it just doesn't work for skin tones. Orange is like, it doesn't work for skin tones. Right. And we've got so many different skin tones, like none of the Lego actual colors work great for skin tones. So what I do is if you were to take all these Lego colors and lay them out on your table in a row and take a picture of them and then turn that picture black and white, I do it by the black and white value of a color.
So the shade.
So what that means,
you go by the shade.
Yes, so a pink is right next to sand green in value, and it's also right next to light bluish gray in value. Yeah, so depending on which way I'm going, I'm using the actual value of it, if that makes sense, how dark or bright it is. Because when you pull it back, that's what your eye sees. That's how you like mix the colors together. Anyway.
Yeah. Now, and from that capacity, you are opening yourself up to much more color because you're using plates versus dots. So you have a larger spectrum of colors, so you can get more gradients doing that as well.
I don't know. I think dots might have more skin tone colors. Like I was actually thinking, do I want to switch to dots? I don't particularly dig the look. I love what people have done with it, and it looks fantastic, but my brain just doesn't work that way. My brain really likes the squares. I was doing that before the dots came out. So I think
I would say not to switch to dots because I think you get a far better color palette to work with
For
than
sure.
the dots.
Okay.
Because a lot of colors.
That was
don't
something I
own
haven't
the
looked into yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no sand
Okay,
green.
good to know. Good to know, because
So
I think this is about 14 colors, 14 different
Yeah.
colors that I'm using here.
Yeah.
So
Because when I did Bowie, I specifically wanted to do it as few colors as possible. So I got it down to 9 colors. And that was mainly because I figured if I was going to have to order a large quantity, I was going to utilize bulk lug. Well, I wouldn't be able to do that if I had 16 colors or 32 colors. So I tried to make it as few colors as possible to be able to jump it up. And that's why I had to go to the larger scale to get that resolution. But doing by plates, you get that finer granularity. So that's interesting.
Okay.
I want to do some more stuff. My next one's going to be plates.
there are now 41 colors of dots. So there's a lot.
see, there's a lot.
But
All right,
some
so
of
there is more colors of dots.
a bunch of colors only became available in the last 12 months. So if
Okay.
you were doing this when I started the Mosaic, there were 2 colors I wanted that didn't yet exist, and then they started making it while I was making it, and I actually had to change my order.
Go figure.
Hey, Jen,
These are very expensive.
Hey, Jen. Real quick, there's
What's up?
a builder you should check out. He got married, had kids, had to stop reluctantly. His name is Blake Bear. Bear spelled like the name, not like the animal. Some of the OGs might remember him. He was Mark's oldest and most ferocious rival, but it was a friendly rivalry. But he also did mosaics too, alongside Castle, which was fun. But he did a pretty groundbreaking technique at the time where he stacked translucent elements for a black and white mosaic. And they were stunning. Like, he did some really, really good ones. He could get, instead of the 5 or 6 shades of gray, he could get with like gray and light bluish gray and dark bluish gray, whatever. He could get up to, I think it was 17 different shades or something like that.
Whoa.
And yeah, it just with one element, and it was a really good effect. So I definitely recommend. This was years, and you have to find it on Flickr. Years and years.
I'll definitely check that out, because I've looked at, I've toyed
dive.
around with stacking translucent on top, and so that's fascinating that somebody's already like perfected
It
that.
also
I definitely want to look at that.
texture to it as well, which is another layer.
Sure.
Jeff,
And then you've got the 1x1 round studs that now have the hole in the middle, and so I can stack those and color, use the color underneath coming out to actually create different shades of whatever I'm using as well.
Yeah.
Second time and show you stuff. There's a guy. He lives in Auburn. His name is Eric Harshbarger. He was a math professor at Auburn, an early Lego fan. He's colorblind, which is interesting. But let me show you. This is a 2004 mosaic. I want to show it to you.
2004.
Hopefully it'll show up well here. Let me show that. This is from 2004. Check that out.
Whoa!
What?
That's for 2004. That's pretty impressive.
Tiles.
Yeah, let me tell you
I don't know
what
if
it is, though.
Yes,
Wait
I
for him
see
to
it.
drop the other shoe. Those are all
Here's
printed
the-
tiles.
Yes,
Printed
he's
tiles.
using,
That
let me
is
go back. Let me
epic.
go back a page. He lists the inventory here. These are all printed tiles he uses here on the side. I don't know if you
Yeah.
see that on the screen or not.
Crazy.
Oh, I have massive respect for that. That is so cool.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
And remember, he was colorblind. He built this by math, keeping track of color and color value and stuff like
I
that.
noticed
So,
the preferred tones, the blue and the go up to the top. Blue
Yeah.
is very predominant. Most
Yeah.
colorblind people can see shades of blue, and there
Mhm.
is that orangey, not orangey, but like that weird, that unusual brownish color in some of those. Now, this is obviously more photorealistic here, but in that shot specifically,
Yeah.
that reminds me of some of the types of colorblind stuff. Oh, wow.
and this.
Well, some of the first mosaics I did, I was using like a needlepoint program online that I found. Look at that. That is epic.
Nuts.
Yeah,
Holy
this is.
cow.
I think I've
probably around
seen
the
this.
same
I've
time.
seen this. Yeah, I've seen this one. This is epic.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
you can just, if you search his name in Lego, it'll come up with his, this is made on GeoCities or something like that. But
It
he
still
had
exists.
these hanging around his house. We got to go visit. He basically sold off all of his regular brick. He just kept the brick that he did all this stuff with. I don't even know if he does Lego anymore. The Mad Hatter had black and white back in the day. Here's the mosaic there. So he did that. This is 2002.
Wow.
Wow.
I love it. I love it.
It's amazing.
Wow.
That is too good.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was really good. He even, did some snotting and stuff in there, really, really early and everything. So yeah, he's a great guy. He was really fun.
Amazing.
And he built a lot of stuff, back in the day
That's
before
Ryan!
a lot of colors and everything. He was mixing colors like you're talking about, and it was revolutionary. So awesome. Good deal.
Remember, I said I
So-
would blurt out his name when I remembered it. The guy who brought his whole Lego room to Brick
Yeah,
Slopes,
Ryan.
Ryan.
Yeah, Aubrey mentioned it in the chat, and I said it out loud when you were looking for the video. I think you missed. You were busy
Thank
looking
you,
for the video,
Aubrey.
so you didn't catch it.
Thank you,
Aubrey
Aubrey.
had your back. Aubrey had your back. Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan.
All right.
Crazy.
Hey, guys, we have gone way over our normal time, but this has been so much fun. And we goofed around a lot at the beginning, so I don't know if we got to everything we want to talk to. Jen, I hope maybe you'll come back and share your creativity with us yet again with us.
Are you kidding me?
Weird
You guys
old
are fun.
people.
Heck yes. I would love that. Thank
We
you
didn't,
so
even talk
much.
about we didn't even talk about sculpture, so you got to come back and talk sculpture with us.
That's true. We need to talk about the Wonder Woman because it's amazing and all those kind of things.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'll drop this Easter egg before I go. So when I did Salazar Slytherin I built it in studio. I laid down like 1 by 1 plate, right? One by 1 plate, and I made like 1,000, a row of 1,000, and then I stacked that up like 100 times, and then I started peeling off layers, and I started sculpting it in studio out of the layers of. And then I had when I was done, I had to go back in and convert everything in stacks of 3 and turn it all into brick, and go from there, so I could know what to order.
Awesome. That is awesome.
It took a long time.
The lights in my house would dim. My computer would be like, no.
It was definitely an issue. Like
when you talk about
limits.
when I was working with my mosaic, I used an Excel spreadsheet. So there were 98,000 individual cells. Each cell I had used the Paint app. And if I shrank it down so I could see the whole picture on the screen of my computer would actually grind to a halt, and it would take it to render 98,000 Excel shrunk down. My computer would be like, give me 5 minutes and I will have this ready.
Give me 5 days.
You hear the
I know,
fan
seriously.
come on, and then you hear the fan super come on. It goes.
Revs up.
Exactly.
All right, everybody.
So true.
Thank y'all for being here
So
tonight.
true.
Thank you for hanging out with us. We had a great crowd. Jen, thank you for coming and hanging out with us. It was an honor to have you here. Everybody
You're
out
very
there, love on your neighbor. Be awesome and build awesome.